We are live, sir.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, good evening. I am once again here with my another episode of Win Life Like a Warrior. As I always tell you that winning life like a warrior doesn't mean that every time you have to go to battlefield. What I mean to say is that you have to win or you have to fight the demons within you. And those demons are that the limiting beliefs, your regressive attitude, your ignorance, and the fear of failure. There are many such demons which you have to fight and win. That is the real meaning of winning life like a warrior. So in today's episode with me is one warrior who is in the real life as well as in the battlefield. In the true sense, he is a warrior. He has been the veteran, in the combat veteran in the Kargil 1971 war, and the entire operations of his life, he has been fighting the battles in the J&K. He has been a prolific writer. He has written around 41 books and 300 papers in various journals of India. So ladies and gentlemen, before I get into details, because I can't cover, if I start talking about his achievement, then it will be too much for me to take time. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Major General GD Bakshi. He is Sena Medal, he is a Visis Seva Medal, and he is a doctorate, PhD, and rest. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of my audience, and I would like to hear from you on this, sir, that how and you finally went into the army, because I know, sir, the NDA was your dream. And sometime to achieve your dream, you have to become a rebel. And I also read somewhere that you became a rebel to join the Indian Army. So we would like to hear from you, sir, how the thing happened.
Look, I was studying in St. Aloysius High School in Double Four. That's a 150-year-old school. Lot of, values, lot of class. And when I was in the 8th class, 9th class, I started reading these commando comics. They used to come for 50 paisa those days. They were about World War I, they were about World War II and the battles, etc. And I was carried away and I was thinking of joining the army. But then, you see, as luck would have it, I had an elder brother.
Sir.
And he was tall, handsome, cricketer, sportsman. He had joined the army, right? And my father felt that he had given one son to the army that was good enough to carry the family tradition. He found that I was, very, what shall I say, scholarly, always sitting in the library with the book, reading. Any time that I could get a book, I could just not leave it. So he felt that he is one boy who will do well in academics. And he wanted me to join the IAS, IFS. That was his dream. That one son had joined the army, one son would go to the IAS or become an IFS, But as luck would have it, my elder brother, he went to the 65 war. He was in 11 J&K rifles, my family regiment. My father had served the same regiment with Maharaja Hari Singh. And he was the chief education officer of the J&K state forces. So he was like the principal of the NDA. So he had taught those officers of the Maharaja's forces, therefore, my elder brother, when he had to join, he joined the 11th J&K Rifles. He joined the family regiment. Unfortunately, he went to the 1965 war. He took part in that, and he was blown to bits by a mine, M16 mine. And you know what an M16 mine can do.
Jumping mine.
A jumping mine. It comes up to your waist and explodes and sends a belly full of metal, hot metal into your intestine. His body was scattered into pieces. The Jawans collected those pieces. They cremated his body there so that we would not see the horrible shape it was in. And they came back to us. They gave us a copper urn with his ashes. That's all that is left of him. And we went and scattered those ashes in the Narmada river, which flows to our house. And as we were scattering the ashes, I felt Now my mind was made up. I had to join. I had to avenge his death. It was as simple as that. So without telling my parents, I applied for the NDA, and I went for the written exam in Delhi. I had to meet my Tayaji. So I said, I'm meeting Tayaji. I'm going to meet some friends, etc. And I passed that written exam. And then came the interview, and the interview was in Mysore, Service Selection Board, Mysore. So quite obviously, I had no friends there and no life that would work now. So I had to tell them, and everybody was very shocked. My father was very shocked. He said, "Haven't I done enough for the army? I've given them one son. Ours is the only family left which will have to keep providing boys for the army." So he was
very natural reaction, sir.
A natural reaction. There was, you can imagine, September 65 and in December 65 I had given my exam, and in March 66 I was going for my interview board and all that. Well, anyway, to cut a long story short, my father said, "Look, you are not the army type. You are very studious. You have ink all over your clothes. You are not worried about your turnout.
Okay.
I know what the army needs, what the army requires. I have dealt with soldiers all my life. So you are not cut out for the army. You will be a square peg in a round hole. I'm telling you, since you have taken this step on your own, you go and do your interview. It will be good practice for your IAS. I wanted to join the IAS. I said, so he permitted me to go. I went. He said, but I'm sure you won't pass, so don't feel too bad if they reject you, because you are not the type for the army, You are. So anyway, I went and I gave my SSB, and then the results came in finally. And to everybody's shock and to my own shock, I was second in the All India merit list in the Army and Navy, and third in the Air Force. Fantastic. So then I told my dad, look, Dad, you said I won't make it. I made it. They think I'm good enough. And I've come second in the merit list. Let me go. Maybe that's my calling. That's my career. So there were lots of, fights in the house, discussions over the dinner table. I couldn't swallow my food, because I never disobeyed my father, actually. And he said, look, I forbid you to. You're not going. I said, no, but I'm going, Dad. That's my life. That's my destiny. I'm old enough to take my decisions now. That kind of a thing. So you can imagine. Ultimately, the day came, the NDA started, and my father wouldn't let me go. So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 10 days passed, and my father wouldn't let me go. So one day I just called a rickshaw. I loaded my trunk. My stuff was already packed up. I loaded my trunk, and Dad suddenly came out and said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the NDA. So he thought I was bluffing. But then the rickshaw drove till the gate, and there was no stopping. So then he came and he held the rickshaw from behind. He says, okay, I see that your mind is made up. You go. But don't fight and go from your house. I'll drop you tomorrow. So that's how he dropped me. And that's how a 41-year journey, 4 years training, 37 years in the army, that started. You made a very interesting mention of fighting the inner demons. The demons of your fear, the demons of your, what holds you back.
Self-limiting beliefs and
self-limiting beliefs and all that. So the one positive belief that I had was that NDA was my goal, and I reached that goal. And then, I have been very blessed. I joined the infantry. I joined my family regiment. I joined the 6th J&K Rifle. I commanded that unit in action in Kargil. I have fought in the 71 war. I have taken part. I have fought in Punjab. I have fought in Kargil. I have fought in Kishtwar. I have fought in Rajouri and Punch. I have seen men to my left die. I have seen men to my right die. I have seen.
I'll come. Yes, sir. I will come to that, sir. I will come to that. There's a long history, sir. Such a war veteran, getting an opportunity to speak is my privilege, sir. And with so much of operational experience you have, sir. But you showed one thing, sir. Like in that such a young age, within 1 year of your losing your brother who was so dear to you, who was so wonderful member of the family, you showed that courage, sir, that courage of taking a decision and going to the same army where you lost someone who is very close to you. So that courage thing which you are still following, and throughout your career you followed, whether you are a battalion commander or the brigade commander or the division, and even now, sir, what we see, I can tell you, sir, one thing, just want to share with you. When I shared your flyer that I am going to interview and you are accepted my invitation, the many people have directly written to me that you couldn't have got better nationalist person than this. This is the comment from...
Very kind. Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
You froze in between. Go on. I think the connection here is a little bad. I'm sorry.
So what I was telling, that I got that compliment no other than Army Commander. You must be knowing General KT Parnaik.
Oh, KT and I go such a long time back. KT and I are very dear friends.
He has, because he was my president in Rolta India Limited. Sir, I subbed for 11 years in Rolta, and he was a president there. So I was direct reporting to him. So when I shared this flyer of I interviewing you, he written that message that Raghav, you couldn't have got better nationalist person than General GD.
Thank you.
And likewise, I got many messages from my other friends and colleagues. Sir, unko bulaiye, and this is what is happening for last 6 days. So, notwithstanding that, sir, means it's a quite a going to be discussion to start with. So, sir, I know that after you passed out your NDA, you went to your home for a short vacation, and thereafter you were, rather your entire course were asked to join in the operations of 1971 war. Am I right?
That's very right. That's very right.
Yeah.
That's very right.
Yeah.
That's very
and
right.
In that also, sir, I believe that whatever course you had, wonderful course you had, the many of your course mates lost life in that war, where they didn't even see the first month salary, rather their parents got the pension. It's a very heartwarming or very emotional thing when I am saying that, sir. We would like to hear from you, rather my audience would like to hear from them. They should realize that what is the kind of sacrifice that Indian Army does.
You know, we were doing our final leg of training at the Indian Military Academy Dehradun in 1971. And you would recall that in March 1971, in fact, 25th of March 1971, Pakistan launched Operation Searchlight Crackdown in Bangladesh. And that was the beginning of the war. The Mukti Bahini started fighting. Vultures started flying over Dhaka. There were so many dead bodies. There were, 3 million Bengalis were killed. 1 million women were raped. And 10 million people were driven out as refugees. And in those days, the Joy Bangla, that, the eye disease started, eye influenza, if you remember, which is a sign of war, impending war. So we all knew war was on the horizon. In October, somewhere, the adjutant called the whole force to the IMA drill square, and he said, boys, we are very happy with your training. You are a very good batch, and we are going to commission you 1 month earlier. So we all started clapping and all that, So the adjutant turned to the assistant adjutant. He said, poor chap, they don't know what they are in for. He said, why, sir? Why do you say that? He said, they will, by the time they pass out and they join the unit, the war would have started. They would not know their men would not know them. And because they are young, they'll go charging. And many of them will get killed, many will get wounded. I'm feeling bad for this batch. And exactly that's how it was. We passed out on 14th of December, 1971, instead of 14th of November, 1971, instead of 14th of December, 1 month ahead, 10 days leave to see Mama, Papa. And then off we went in the trains. Either we landed in the Western Theatre or we landed in the Eastern Theatre. About 20, 30 of us, we landed in Siliguri. And from there, we were going always. Most of them were going to Bangladesh. So when we got off the train, we hugged one another because we were not sure whether we would see one another again alive. And then our boys came up. They said, "Ye saab, pakdo apna steel helmet, phado saab. Ye phadiyo to stand. और बेनेट इस पे चला लेना साहब है और जल्दी करो साहब जल्दी करो टाइम नहीं बोले ये ट्रंक शंक कहाँ जाएगा बोले साहब वो रियर एनसीओ ले जाएगा आप फिक्र ना करो आप चलो साहब एफएसएमओ निकाल लो अपना और चलो so it was as simple as that and the very first night of our service many of us were in action some of us got killed Mahendra Pal Singh Chaudhary so many others got wounded Nanavati other boys. And it was sad, but we are very proud. Ours is the batch that in 13 days we broke Pakistan in two. We created a new nation state of Bangladesh. 550 kilometers we advanced to the city of Dhaka. And 93,000 prisoners of war had surrendered Pakistan. Largest mass surrender after the Second World War. We saw it with our own eyes and how proud you felt, we had little transistors in our pouches, and there you could hear Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw calling upon the Pakistanis to surrender. I know you are trying to escape to Chittagong and Khulna. You cannot escape. My navy has sealed the routes. You surrender and I will take care of you, Proudest moment of any soldier's career.
Of course,
that was fascinating. Fascinating experience to live through. The birth of a new nation state. We changed the map of South Asia. They say that you can't change your neighbors. We changed the map.
Yes.
And that is
the way to fight the world. That is the way to fight the enemy.
Victory, total victory.
Yeah.
And I remember Sam had come for a passing out parade in the NDA.
Sir.
Do you know what he told us?
Sir.
He used to speak like a machine gun.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I'm impressed by your turnout, your drill, your smartness, and I want to tell you that today there is no place for a defeated soldier. You either win or you die.
Yes,
that was Sam Bahadur.
It is something like, sir, that means that is the way you infuse courage. So whether you जो डर गया सो मर गया वाली बात है ना. If you fear it and then you die. So if you go with the total courage and you fight, sure there is a win, and that is what General Manekshaw used to do and infuse the courage among the officers and the Jawans. Sir, thereafter, so you talk about Sir General Nanavati. He was that time only. Who retired as
no, General Nanavati was Army Commander, Northern Command. General Nanavati has been one of my idols in the Army. Absolute professional soldier.
I know.
He was the Army Commander, Northern Command. And when I was serving as a brigade commander in Kishtwar.
Okay.
And of course, prior to that, we were together in the Military Operations Directorate. I was in MO2, he was in MO8. He was Director MO8. I was a G2 first, and then I became a G1 there. So that's how, it's a very old association. Even earlier, in the MO Directorate, we were together.
Was he part of the 1971 operation also? Because you mentioned that.
Oh yes. Nanavati was in the Western Theatre. He was in the Western Theatre. No, the Nanavati that I'm talking about is my course mate, Nanavati.
Yeah, that's what
my course mate from the Maratha Light Infantry.
Okay, that's what I
served under General R.K. Nanavati of the Gurkhas also.
Okay,
and like I said, he was one of my military idols. He was a thorough professional.
I know, sir. Like I was in this Limakong Singular Regiment, and he was a 4-corps commander.
Yeah.
And when he came to visit our Adam inspection, he always carry one pouch where something is there in the pouch. Sack is there where he has something to eat or something to change. One change and one eat. And he never shared that pouch with anybody.
Yes, that is right. He carried his own lunch.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even let you serve him lunch.
Yes.
He was that strict and Spartan a soldier.
Wonderful. Yes.
Wonderful, thoroughbred soldier, thoroughbred
Yes,
soldier.
yes.
He never raised his voice, but people were so shit scared of him,
I know,
because
I
he
know,
would brook no nonsense.
I
He
know,
was ramrod straight professional.
I know.
And in his time, we had killed about 2,500 terrorists in the valley. Can
Okay.
you imagine?
I know.
2,500, the highest, that is a record set.
I know,
Never
I
have
know.
we been.
After 4 corps, I think he went as a army commander, Northern Command.
3 corps. He had commanded 3 corps.
Yeah, 3 corps, not
Three
four
corps.
corps, 3 corps, 3 corps.
3 corps.
Yeah, yeah.
3 corps, and then he
I,
has gone there.
in fact, I
No,
was in,
but I want to. Yes,
I was in that time in sir 57 Lima Com
Lima.
when he was
That's
in
very
3 corps.
yeah.
Sir,
Yes,
sir.
yes, 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 you're right.
Sir,
But I am
yeah.
very. If you give me the permission, I'm very happy to hear you say about facing up to your peers and all that. That is a philosophy that you learn in the army.
Sir,
When I
sir.
was commanding my battalion in Kargil, I had 6 killed, 21 wounded. That was the level of fighting.
In
We
fact,
got
that is
one Veer Chakra.
that is my next sir. This thing where I'm
Uh,
taking you now. That
uh,
as a battalion commander, you were in the Kargil, and in the operations, you killed around I think 150 Pakistani terrorists, and
that's
wherein you lost your Sikh Jawan as well. And
that's
that was the time as a battalion commander, you were very, very hurt by losing these Sikh gentlemen, Sikh
boy.
Jawans,
That's right.
and probably you only were the part of the cremation things and other things.
That's
So
right.
we would like to know, sir, that what was that operation and how this all happened in
You
the
know,
Kargil.
I was sent to Kargil in the year 1990-91. There was an operation Dalunang going on there. A
Okay,
major intrusion had taken place in a place
sir.
called Dalunang,
Okay,
which is just 5 kilometers from the LC. Most people don't know about this operation because they tried to hide it, because the government hid it, the army also did talk about it. But that was the first intrusion in Kargil. So
oh,
the unit that in whose time it happened was 15 Punjab, and they had over 40, 45 casualties killed and so many more wounded because the Pakistanis had occupied the height and they were
okay,
below.
yeah,
We
yeah,
had to this thing. So then another unit came and they did some time, and then my unit was told, no, you will have to stay here for full 2 years. So it was a very big challenge. So there was that intrusion. So ultimately, I asked my bosses, look, that is the time General Zaki was in 15 Corps, and he said,
sir.
don't disturb me. I'm fighting in the valley. Don't fire on the LC. Don't do anything. So I said, sir, this is a hell of a situation. Pakistan is firing on us 24/7. Artillery, mortars, Grad P tubes, you know, uh, I mean, it was terrible. So ultimately, I convinced my bosses, look, please tell me what is my task. Am I supposed to just sit here and get fired on? Let the Pakistanis fire and don't retaliate, don't retaliate, don't retaliate. What nonsense. It's so demoralizing for the boys.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I said, sir, please don't do this to us. Don't treat us like punching bags for the Pakistanis. Either we are allowed to hit back or you take my unit out. If you don't want to fight, well, then why keep a fighting unit here? So
Absolutely.
my brigade commander agreed. My GOC was General O.P. Kaushik of the Raj Rif, a great soldier. So
Sir,
he
sir,
said, you go and hit them back. And then we got 5 mortar platoons in my
sir,
battalion area, one battalion area. I had
sir,
5 mortar platoons.
sir,
And
sir.
all 5 were firing. So I put 3 mortar platoons on they had 2 mortar platoons, the Pakistanis. 3 on 1, 2 on 1, silence them, force them to change location. Then I turned onto the Pakistani battalion headquarters and I bombed the shit out of that Pakistani headquarters. They had huge casualties. They opened up with artillery. Now
Sir,
to
sir.
get artillery fire, the corps commander had to agree and this, that, it took us almost 12 hours because the guns had, the artillery people had put down their guns. They were in counter infiltration role, 64 field under Colonel Pondir. So I remember they came back, fatafat, they came, got their guns. And by the evening, after one full day of pounding by the Pakistani artillery guns, 105s, our 105s came into action. So one light battery, one regiment of 105s and 5 mortar platoons, Grad P tubes, air defense guns, 18 rocket launchers, 106 RCL, anti-tank guns, everything was firing, my God. So once again, I put, the RTOP came to me, the battery commander, he said, sir, guns ready to fire. Where do you want me to start ranging? I said, range on the enemy gun position. We can see it from that so-and-so post, your OP officer, if you ask him, he is seeing that gun position from that height. So he said at 1, 2, 3, third round, center of target. So he said, sir, we've hit center of target. I said, 5 rounds gunfire. 18 into 5.
I know.
We could hear the shells whizzing overhead. My God, it was very exciting. So we bashed the daylights out of that Pakistani battalion. And that used to be causing, I had lost 6 boys to their firing. It is not that they died of altitude sickness or something. They were killed by the artillery, the mortars, the firing that used to go on 24/7. But my unit did very well. We got the chief citation. We got 1 VRC, 4 Sena medals. I got the VSM and 25 smaller awards, Army Chief's Commendation, Army Commander's Commendation. And we got the chief citation as one of the finest battalions, that had taken part. And when we went to receive that, the chief was General Roderick. He said, which unit is this? He said, 6 Jack. He said, 6 Jack? This is a unit that brought the bloody fucking Pakistanis to their knees. This is the tribute we got from the chief then, So, I mean, I have very fond memories. But we learnt a lot there. I mean, that was real war. I mean, real war, as real as it gets. And I had 25 wounded. 1 boy lost his eyes. I feel very sorry for him because those who died, died. But this boy has been blind since then, And I try and meet him every time, cheer him up. But he is in good spirit, good heart. He goes around with a walking stick. But he is very self-sufficient now, etc. But, it was there that we saw a lot of death and dying. A lot of death, and
that is where, sir, you were awarded VSM and
yes,
I think maximum gallantry awards were given.
Yes, to my unit, But, what I'm trying to tell you is something that you quoted and I really like. Face your fear.
Yes.
When I was there, a youngster joined my unit, tall, handsome boy, he's one of the handsomest, good sportsmen. So I made him my adjutant. Even when he was a second lieutenant, I said, I'll teach this boy because he's long way to go. I'm happy to say he's become a brigadier now. We hope he'll go further. But, what I was saying was that he joined and I was just seeing from the corner of my eye, he had just come and the artillery shelling had started. Massive, shells bursting all over, yaks dying, civilians running, bleeding, like torrents of bloody blood coming into your face. I've seen that kind of scene. Anybody would be shaken up. So he just turned jocularly to one of my JCOs, white-haired JCO. He says, "Saab, idhar se gadar hai? यहाँ से जिंदा जाने का नुस्खा क्या है? यहाँ तो मर रहे लोग." So he looked at him, the JCO, he was a tall chap. He said, "साहब, आप बास्केटबॉल, आप वॉलीबॉल खेलते हो?" तो ये सर हाँ खेलता हूँ, लेकिन वॉलीबॉल का ये मरने से क्या लेना देना? तो ये सर नहीं साहब, हाँ मुझे बताओ वॉलीबॉल में खड्डा क्या होता है? तो ये सर मुझे नहीं मालूम। इसे साहब देखो, जब आप मैच खेल रहे हो और मैच पॉइंट पे गेम आ जाए, तो आप जो है दुश्मन की आपको सर्विस करनी है लास्ट। हार जीत का फैसला उस सर्विस पे मुनस्सर होगा, राइट? तो आप बॉल लीजिए and look into the eyes of the enemy team or adversary team. जो सबसे डरा हुआ लग रहा है उसको बॉल सर्व करो, he will drop it. वो खड्डा है। कहता साहब गोली खड्डे की तरफ जाती है, जो डर गया तो मर गया। If you are scared, the moment you are, the bravest of men get scared sometimes.
Absolutely.
The bravest of men. I have not seen a man who was not really scared. It's only that we are trained in the army not to show that fear.
Yes.
Not to show that fear, to laugh or to make a joke out of it or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Distract your mind, etc., from death and dying, and go on with your job. Go on with it. Face your demon. Slay your dragon. Slay the dragon of your fear. And fears are of many kinds. I'm sorry, but if you permit, I'll take some time on this. This is a very essential philosophy. Fears of many kinds. You see, there is called the law of reverse effect.
Yes.
Go back to the first time that your elder brother or elder sister taught you how to ride a cycle.
Yes.
He or she went to the cycle store, hired a choti bike, so that if you would fall down, you would not hurt. And then he would take you to an open Maidan and start pushing you from behind and say, pedal, 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 and suddenly leave you. So you would go like this, like this, like this, like this, and finally learn some balance,
balancing.
And balancing on the cycle. And suddenly in the middle of that field, you would see a chota patthar. And you would say, patthar, 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 and hit that same stone. There is a philosophy. This is called law of reverse effect. What you fear the most will happen.
Yes.
What you fear the most will come to pass. You are going to give an exam. और आपको डर लग गया साहब कि मैं फेल हो गया तो क्या होगा? अरे idiot, why do you think of failure? Why didn't you think I will be in the merit list? But if you keep thinking of what will my parents say, what will my teacher say, my friends will laugh at me, failure, you will get failure.
Law of attraction. Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Law of reverse effect.
Law of reverse effect. Yes.
It's called, So and now comes, you have started a startup. You took huge loans. Your mom gave you her jewelry ki beta laga de, teri business hai. And suddenly aapko bhay aa gaya, dar baith gaya. Oh my God, what happens if it fails? How will I pay back the loan? Mera to ghar bhi girvi hai, meri maa ke gehne bhi girvi hai. What if I fail? What if I fail? Then you will fail.
Yeah.
Why don't you think you are going to be the next Ambani, the next Adani?
Yes.
Think positive.
Yes.
No self-limiting.
Yes.
No taking the counsel of your fear. Think positive. Think
positive. No regressive attitude.
You will win the toughest of battles.
That's why
either find a way or make one. The Israeli commandment for the young officers. The first commandment is attack, attack, attack.
Attack. Yeah.
The second commandment is in the attack, risk, risk, risk. Third commandment, when in doubt, hit out. Fourth commandment, when orders don't get through, presume what they would be and act accordingly. Don't wait for orders.
Yes.
Go and do what you think must be done. Just go and do it. Don't keep looking for orders. Ki bhai hukum milenge to karunga. Don't show initiative. In the battlefield, initiative pays handsome. So this, in a sense, is the sum of my philosophy. Whenever I go and after retirement, I go and talk to school children, college children. I've just come back from Dehradun, Guru Ram Rai University, where I addressed and spoke to all the children. I give them one mantra. Jo dar gaya, to mar gaya. Gabbar Singh Shole's famous dialogue. The only thing to fear is fear.
Yes.
Fear is the biggest shackle.
Actually, the fear kills more dreams than the failures.
Absolutely right.
Fear kills more dreams than this thing. And that is why, sir, this show, which I have made basically after serving in the corporate and seeing these mid-career professionals, I have made that unhook your past and win life like a warrior.
Absolutely right.
Where the warrior word I have coined is, the W is winning mindset. A is attitude of gratitude.
Right.
R is remove clutter from your life. Next R is reinvent yourself. I is inspire others. And the O is overcome your procrastination. And the last R is that reap the reward or return on your time invested. If you follow this warrior framework, you will win life like a warrior, where you can take care of your years.
That is wonderful. Wow, that's very wonderful. I also keep going to various corporate lectures on leadership and motivation talk. And I think you put it very well. The warrior mindset, Arjun mindset, the warrior, the winner mindset.
What you rightly said is that commandments of Israel is
Israelis
attack is the best defense.
is the best form of defense. Don't defend, attack. Let him defend.
Yes.
Let his cities burn.
Absolutely.
Let his villages get destroyed. Let his crops be crushed by tanks.
Absolutely.
Why should our crops be crushed by our tanks?
Yes.
Attack is the best form of defense. So
Sir,
I will last question because I have to then move on to another TV program coming now.
I'll take a few more minutes. Relevant questions are there. I will speed up, sir. Firstly, that as a brigade commander also, sir, you have been in a hotbed of terrorism, that is your Kishtwar, right, sir? Where again you have shown so much of same spirit of attack, that where you have pacified the area. When you become a Romeo Dip commander there, you killed so many anti-national elements, and finally you were awarded Sena Medal there. Something called Operation Sarv Binas. So what was this all you really did, sir? There?
So I got my Sena medal in Kishtwar. Kishtwar was the toughest CI area, counter-terrorist area to serve in J&K, because the valley floor is at 6,000, 7,000, and the ridges and the adjoining peaks are 14, 15, 16,000. You know, it's high altitude. People used to go there for mountaineering expeditions, you know. So the fact of the matter is that it was the toughest area. And when I went, the morale of the people was very low, because they had had a human rights violation incident. They had fired, and about 5 civilians had died and 14 had been wounded. So there was a big, you know what happens when that kind of a thing happens. There were court of inquiry, court martial, this, that, wo. So the boys had gone into a shell. They were defending themselves. I had to go and get that place moving again. My GOC told me, GD, your troops have gone to ground. वो कुछ नहीं कर रहे, किसी को नहीं मार रहे. When I went there, I found out the reality. So then he asked me, what is the problem with your place? I said, sir, if I was them, I would also not shoot. वो बोल रहे हैं कि साहब एक तो हम गोली मारे, ऊपर से हमारा कोर्ट मार्शल हो, हमारी छुट्टियां बंद हो, हम लोग court of inquiry ho, court martial ho, summary of evidence ho, तो साहब then I'd rather stay home and just marrow around and come back. So he said, no, you'll have to get them moving, but I'll try and see. I said, you have to help the boys. I mean, they were attacked. They were trying to snatch their rifles. What would he want them to do? Hand over their rifles?
Yes.
So I mean, let's not be so judgmental to Jack branch wale bad. I will sort them out. Human right violation. I said, look at the backdrop. Look at why he opened fire. So anyway, I got those boys off the hook. I hired a lawyer. We paid from our own pockets to get an ex-Fauji lawyer who said, where is the ballistic report? Who says they were killed by the bullets of the Faujis? They were killed by the bullets of the terrorists. I mean, we got the boys. And once I got that done, that we set a record in killing terrorists. Never a higher number had been killed. And while I was there, what they started doing when they came under pressure, the demography of Kishtwar is they are 60% majority community, and minority Hindus were 40%. Sorry. They started killing the Hindus. One village.
Sir, one very important thing which I liked it, sir, after this operation, that defeat into victory, the word which has been used for you, that you have been termed as a turnaround specialist.
A specialist. I was sent to areas where the morale was lowest, and they were suffering badly. They were taking, hiding. And when by the time I had left, we had, from here to there. Because if you take a normal situation and you do okay, there's not much credit.
Because this phase of defeat into victory, sir, we read it in RD exam, the book by Field Marshal Slim.
William Slim.
So when I read about this turnaround, especially in defeat into victory, it was very fascinating to discuss with you, sir. And knowing that how did you change the morale and how did you help the boys to come up to that expectation? That's wonderful, sir. That's really wonderful.
I'll just finish that Kishtwar episode. So they started killing the Hindus. One village they went, they killed 5. Next week, they went to the next village, killed 8. And then they went to the third village, they killed 13. Women, children, little boys, girls. It was very tragic. And an exodus started. Jaise Kashmiri Pandits ka hua tha from the valley, the Hindus of Kishtwar started fleeing. So that is the time I came under a lot of pressure. You know, Home Minister started ringing, ye kya ho raha hai saab, ye kya, you know. Now, how can you? I had 11,000 square kilometers of mountain terrain. I had 3,000 soldiers to guard. Even if I put one soldier to the square kilometer, 2/3 would be khali.
Yes.
You know. So how do I guard every village, every civilian?
Correct.
How do I go to every village? You know.
Yes.
So I said once again, Israeli playbook, Israeli tactics. Don't defend, attack.
Yes, yes.
And how do I attack? I went round to the villages where the killings had taken place and I started cordon search. They हाथ जोड़ के खड़े हो गए, साहब हमने नहीं किया. मैंने कहा बताओ किसने किया. So I got the name Abu Mustafa, Abu Ghulam, Abu Umair of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. So I said, okay, get all your able-bodied males, 15 to 50, get them into the school. And I told them, I showed them the PowerPoint of the dead bodies, you know. I said, ye dekho. They have killed women and children. Whereas the Quran Sharif says, in a jihad, औरतों की जान, बच्चों की जान, बूढ़ों की जान बख्श दी जाए. So this is violating the Lord saying in the Quran.
Yeah.
He said, now I said, now आपने वो कहते हैं पानी में रह के मगरमच्छ से वैर नहीं करते. So I made an announcement. I said, Abu Mustafa, Abu Ghulam, Abu Umair, तुमको जहाँ भागना है भाग लो. मैं तुम्हें जहन्नुम के किसी भी कोने से ढूंढ निकालूंगा और जब निकालूंगा मैं तुम्हें कुत्ते की मौत जला के मारूंगा. तुम्हारी रूह कयामत के दिन खड़ी नहीं होगी क्योंकि तुमने औरतें मारे हैं, तुमने बूढ़े और बच्चे मारे हैं, तुमने अल्लाह ताला की हुक्म जूली करी. Now you run where you want. To hell with the other terrorists. भाड़ में जाएं बाकी टेररिस्ट. तुमको मैं नहीं छोड़ू. अब तुम फौज का तुम देखोगे फौज का गुस्सा क्या होता. It took me 1 month. But I surrounded them. Finally, my boys surrounded them in a dhok, in a clearing in a forest. You know, they were not even staying in a forest so that nobody can sneak in onto them. मैदान फुटबॉल जैसा ग्राउंड था साला, in the middle of the jungle. वो धोख में चुप के बैठ गए. When we attacked, we took a lot of casualties. So then I told my commanding officer, he had gone himself. He later became a lieutenant general. He was, you know, very, very, very fine soldier. So I said, stop attacking. Have you got a flamethrower? He said, yes, sir. Thermobaric hai tere paas? बोला हाँ sir. मैं कहा use it. He said, sir, कोई civilian हुए तो मैं मारा जाऊंगा. You know, अगर कोई civilian हुए, Anil said that मैं मारा जाऊंगा. तो मैंने बोला यार तो लाउड हेलर पे अनाउंसमेंट कर कि हम ये धोख को जला रहे. अगर कोई सिविलियन है तो हाथ खड़ा करके बाहर. हम 10 गिने. हाथ खड़ा करके बाहर आने को बोला तो वहां से पंजाबी में मां बहन की गाली. तो ऐसे अब समझ आ गया अंदर कौन है. These are not even local terrorists. These are Pakistani. पंजाबी में गाली दे रहा है. So he said, sir, yes, sir. So I said, you still got any doubt? Okay. Record from Tiger for Tiger. Use thermobaric weapon now. Preserve casualties. Comply. Over. I said, record that message. भाई तेरे को कुछ नहीं होगा ना.
Correct. I am responsible.
I am responsible.
Yes.
Because I don't want any more casualties of my boys.
Yeah.
So destroy that bunker. Destroy that. They fired. धोक वो पाइनवुड की बनी थी. 300-400 feet, the flames went. 2-3 hours it burnt. And you know, pine can get burnt to ash. It's amazing to see how pine burns. उसमें वो gum होती है, resin. So that was the end of all terror there.
I know, sir.
September 2001, the last killing of Hindus. And all those who had fled came back. Had the same thing been done in the valley, this would not have happened.
I know. Sir, in fact, as a general, sir, it is a very rare, sir, that you have been an instructor at IMA, you have been instructor at DSSC Wellington, you have been instructor at NDC. Here I would like to know, sir, two things. One is that which tenure of DS you like the most? IMA, DSSC or NDC? And I also know that General Rawat was your one of the cadets in the IMA. So I would like to know that, sir, that how did you feel when your cadet become a chief and thereafter CDS? It's an immense feeling, sir, if any of your students reach it.
It's a great feeling of pride. वो बोलते हैं गुरु गुड़ चेले चीनी. Your students must surpass the teacher. Then you have taught them well.
Sir.
So I really look back at the IMA as one of my best assignments.
I agree. I was thinking
satisfied, that, sir. Most satisfied, you know, because you are teaching the life skill, survival skill, battle skill to a future officer. It is not theory. You're not teaching him maths and physics and chemistry. You are teaching him how to fight, how to win, how to survive, how to lead, you know. Yes. And, and the bonding that you get with your cadets is so distinct. Not one of my cadets got relegated. None of them got official punishment. No extra drills, no restrictions. I used to sort them out myself. And they were dead scared of me, you know, because I used to lay them out, you know, with 2 bikes, 3 bikes, that, etc., etc. I used to punish myself. But I never spoiled anybody's official record. I said, you will all pass up. It's my job to make you an officer. That is my responsibility, that you become not only an officer, a good officer. And then, you know, for years after that, I used to get letters from my cadets. Sir, I'm facing this problem in the unit. Sir, what should I do? You know, it was like a lifetime consultancy service. Because the bonding is so deep. You are so close with them. You go with them night through the Shakumbari Pass, marching with the boys. You see, Field Marshal Viscount William Slim said, you know, there are 3 best commands in the army. One is the platoon, because it is your first. And if you are any good, you know your men better than their mothers. Right? The second is the command of a division. First orchestra of war. And the third is the command of an army. So, but he said my 3 best commands in the army. So my best command was my first platoon command. And a platoon commander in the IMA. That is something that I really look back to. And like you said, General Narvane was one of my cadets. Then General Vipin Rawat, he became the chief. Nice. He became the first chief of defense staff. And my heart goes out to him.
Yes, his family. That is a very unfortunate.
He used to keep calling me now and then for some advice, some discussion, etc. And every time I went to his office, he was the chief. He would stand up and come to the door to see me off. That was the Khandani officer, third generation.
He was a very humble, sir. I have also met in a couple of seminars and all. He will always come and shake hands.
He was very down to earth, and he was a great professional. He was a great professional. We had seen it coming. He got the sword of honor. He got the sword of honor at the IMA, so we knew he was where he was heading, and he was made out for that. So many of my students have been army commanders. So many of them. So I'm very, very satisfying feeling. But of course, NDC was also very good, because NDC, by the time you teach at the NDC, your students are brigadiers, commodores, air commodores. And they also come from the police, IB, DIGs, joint secretaries, things like that. So that is the place where when you teach, you also learn. So there is so much collective wisdom in that. 150 odd people, and there are about 30, 40 foreign officers. So that is the place when I was teaching there. There was an academic council meeting, and Admiral Raja Menon came. He was head of the academic council. So he said, "What research is the faculty doing? It is a bum faculty that does no research." So I was the senior most SDS, senior director staff there. So the commandant turned to me, "GD, would you like to tell the admiral something?" So I said, "Sir, I will volunteer and do my PhD." That was my last year of service. I started my PhD in the NDC, the University of Madras, and I got it about 1.5, 2 years after my retirement. Well, almost 2.5 to 3 years I took to do my PhD. I was the first officer from the NDC who has earned a PhD from the NDC as an institution. So I have set a record there also, and I am the first PhD from the NDC. And also that I wrote the history of the NDC. I wrote the history of the National Defense Academy. And the commandant was my course mate. He requested me to come and
that's great, sir.
That is really. I have also written the history of my regiment. So basically, I am a military historian. And now, after retirement, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, because if you plan your retirement, it can be the best phase of your life.
Absolutely, sir.
Do what you like.
Absolutely, sir.
You want to work the whole night, nobody can stop you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You want to get up at 4:30 in the morning and work, nobody will stop you. There are no office hours, there is nothing. I like reading, I like writing, and I like communicating. And
sir,
that is what I'm doing. I am enjoying myself.
In fact, not only, sir, enjoying, you are doing the immense addition of the value to the people of India, sir. At large, you are giving so much of life lesson to the people, because I have seen one of the place where you have spoken about the courage, sir. And as I understand, courage is not something opposite of fear. Courage is something when you take action in the presence of fear. That is the courage.
Courage is something positive.
Courage is something when you take action in the presence of fear. When you are feeling fearful and you take a action, that is courageous.
Can I take a minute to explain that?
Sir.
Because I have done a lot of thinking on this. Yes. I have seen fear. Bole dharma kshetre, yuddha kshetre.
I would like to, sir, give to my viewer that CCTV formula of wars for the benefit of the people who are listening, because that life lesson, everybody would like to hear that. And then you can bring out this courage part also.
Country, courage, compassion, truth. 4 basic values. CCTV, closed circuit television. So country is the highest value. My country comes first, always and every time. If you place value there, you will never go wrong. You will never cheat. You will never lie. You will never do corruption. Because my country comes first. I come last in that system of values. Country, courage as a positive value. I will never fear. And not negative, positive value.
Yes.
And now, then comes compassion. If you have courage, but you are a merciless killer, then you could become a criminal also.
Yes,
you could become a gangster also. So therefore, compassion. Compassion for the weak, compassion for the poor, compassion, for the suffering. That is country, courage, compassion, truth is the highest value. Satyen Titishthaya Jagat. Truth is the foundation of this universe. Right? And as I was saying that, talking about fear, you said a very important thing. The Gita teaches you to deal with what combat managers call 2 negative emotions. These negative emotions are disorganizing emotions. One is fear, the other is guilt.
Yes, yes.
They disorganize your brain.
Yes.
मुझे पता है कि अगर चेंबर में लटका हुआ राउंड है तो कैसे निकालना उस रोक को. But when I am shit scared of dying, there are attacks coming, shells bursting, enemy charging to the bayonet, my hand starts shaking.
Yes.
My mind is disorganized. I cannot lose magazine को नहीं fit कर पा रहे. आप ऐसे ऐसे मार.
Yes, yes.
Because fear is disorganized. Guilt is disorganized. Guilt at killing another human being can be terrible.
Yes.
So, what does the Lord teach you in the Gita? How to overcome these disorganized emotions, right? And you can't suppress an emotion. You can only supplant a negative emotion by a positive.
Correct.
Have you
Correct.
understood?
Bilkul,
Bravery,
absolutely.
courage, compassion, bravery, veerta. That is an emotion, that self-transcendence. My country transcends. So, Shri Krishna told Arjun, जब वो ले गया, Arjun had guilt. मैं अपने अंकल को मारूंगा, मैं अपने गुरु को मारूंगा और राज करूंगा. बेकार है ऐसे राज. मैं नहीं मारना चाहता. तो कृष्ण ने क्या बोला? भगवान कृष्ण ने कहा, अर्जुन, अगर तू इन्हें नहीं मारेगा, ये
तो है. हाँ, करेक्ट, करेक्ट.
तू अपना धर्म कर, तू अपनी ड्यूटी कर, फिलॉसफी मत झाड़. फलसफे मत दे मेरे को. You kill or you will be killed.
Absolutely. Same happens in the war.
You are fighting a righteous war for what is dharma, what is right. So he said, this is how he taught them to get over his guilt. I'm not killing that man for any personal benefit. I'm not robbing him of his money. मैं उसकी जायदाद नहीं ले रहा. मैं उसके गहने नहीं चुरा रहा.
Yes.
I'm killing him because he is the enemy of my country, period. Any guilt attaches to those who ordered me to kill. I'm doing, my duty is to kill him. He's attacked my country, I will kill him. I'm not doing it for my personal sake. If I was doing it for personal enmity, then the guilt would attach to me, to my ego. When I transcend the ego and act, no guilt attaches.
Yes.
मैंने नहीं मारा. वो निमित्त हूं मैं. I'm an instrument of that action. And he said, fear. ना हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. क्यों डर रहा है? तेरे जिस्म के नाश होने से इस आत्मा का कुछ नहीं. नैनम छंदंती शस्त्राणि, नैनम दहति पावक. Swords cannot cut the atma, nor the fire burn, nor the wind sweep it away.
Sir, you have done so much of research and such a philosophical connection with the military life. I think very, very few general might have done. And that is the way, sir, you have written such a number of books, not only, sir, military, non-military, fiction, and even you have connected with the this spirituality, sir. I was just going through the list of books where you have written about that quantum book of Soma, which is reinterpreting the wisdom of Vedas. I was just wondering, this word of quantum, sir, I am a science student. I have done my MTech from IIT Kharagpur. So I have read this word quantum physics, quantum mechanics. When I saw this word in your book's name, quantum book of Soma, I said, I will ask this circuit, what is this all about? Because most of my viewers may not be aware of this Rig Veda and this quantum Soma. So you may like to enlighten us a little bit on that, though I know that you are pressing time.
Now, you see, look, the quantum self. What is the quantum self? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, Einstein, quantum mechanics started coming out, in the 1930s, and then they held a Copenhagen Convention to make sense of quantum mechanics. What have we found? So they said there can be no purely objective observation without an observing consciousness. An observing consciousness has to be part of any observation, Heisenberg, right? And the simple thing is that today in physics, if you go to the frontier of physics, they said there are two types of problems: the easy problem and the hard problem.
Yes.
You know, the easy problem: how far is the moon? How so sorry, there are some guests have come.
No issue.
So as I was saying that
Easy problem is hard
the
problem.
easy problem is how far is the Andromeda galaxy? You know, how many electrons, how many shells, you know, around the orbitals, you know, etc. From which orbital to which orbital. This is the easy problem. The hard problem is what exactly is consciousness? How do I see the red in the red flower?
Yes, yes.
How do I see the red in the red flower? That is the hard problem.
Yes.
You see,
yes.
they are trying to find out what exactly is consciousness. Is it an effervescence of the brain?
Yeah.
But the Indian view is just the opposite. You know, it is not that atoms make molecules, molecules make neurons,
Yes, yes.
neurons make consciousness like some chemical effervescence.
Sir.
This is called the bottoms-up approach.
Sir.
In science, right?
Sir.
From basic substances we go up.
Yes.
Now the reverse approach is top down.
Yeah.
The basic stuff of the universe is consciousness.
Yeah.
From consciousness comes, you know, intelligence. From intelligence comes the mind. From mind comes energy, and from energy comes the body.
What is spirituality?
Molecular.
Sir? What is spirituality, sir?
Top-down approach. Top-down approach. You see, and what they are saying is that the quantum self, you know, that is the one which, you know, there are waves of probability, possibility. When you make an observation, you collapse all the other waves of possibility, and only one wave emerges. That becomes your reality that you see. And to see that reality, you need an observer. There can be no purely objective observation. The universe would not be there if there was not a consciousness to observe it. That is the basic fundamental thing in quantum mechanics, you know, beyond space, beyond time. So this is all what is there in this book, sir? That is there in this book. It is a 440-page book. Okay. I've spent 50 years researching it. So do go through it. and this is based on Rig Veda, sir? This is based primarily on the Rig Veda and the Upanishads. I have also done a book on the Atharva Ved. I am doing a book now on the Sam Ved. In fact, I read it, sir, that you are writing a book on this conflict of Russia as well as Ukraine also. Ukraine. That is what I keep working till. So, with your point of view, do you think that Russia has done a blunder, sir? No. I'm sorry. There is a lot of propaganda against Russia. The entire propaganda machinery of the United States on social media, electronic media, print media is going hammer and tongs. Firstly, you push Russia into a war by the eastward expansion of NATO. Why? I mean, if the Soviet Union broke, what was the need for NATO? And NATO is now interfering in Iraq and Libya and Syria and Afghanistan. I mean, so this is being over-aggressive. He had said, don't, you see, Russia lacked any natural boundaries. Yes. There are no Himalayas in the Russian border. You know, so they need buffer states. So they said the last two buffer states are Ukraine and Georgia. And those are my red lines. Please don't cross. And the Americans have done it. They have provoked them and they have hit back. And let me tell you, for all the hoopla, Ukraine has won, Ukraine has won, Ukraine has won. Professor Nalpat said, if this is victory, I shudder to think what defeat would be like. 40 cities destroyed. I know, sir. All your infrastructure destroyed. And they wanted to take the two provinces of Luhansk and Donbass, and they wanted to take the entire Crimean coast. They have. Yesterday, also they have captured one. No. Ukraine has lost all its ports, less Odessa, which is under blockade. 30% of Ukraine's GDP gone. So America can. Sir, you are muted, sir. You got muted. You got muted, sir.
You got muted, sir. You got muted, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was a discussion with General GD Bakshi, which has been very, very enriching. And finally, he has to rush for some TV show. And that's why he has been muted and probably left. So thank you very much for watching the entire